That certainly establishes the weather climate. The rain of Limerick. We were never dry. And this particular
When I look back on my childhood, I wonder
this
how my brothers
particular
and
scene
sisters
is
survived
so realistic, is authentic, that especially the scene in the lane there.
while
And of course, this one is authentic. The King John's Castle in the distance,
Irish childhood,
a typical Limerick back lane.
Irish Catholic childhood.
Devotion. I think all the elements are caught there. The Virgin Mary up there. When I visited this particular set, where they shot it in Dublin,
It's a beautiful wee girl, Mrs. Leibovitz.
I was astounded at how authentic it was.
A wee girl.
I don't know, I think Alan Parker and the set designers must have been inspired.
Mary. Ah, she's so beautiful, Minnie.
It's a strange thing to
Blue eyes.
write a book and dig back into your memories, put it on the page, and then see it transferred it to the screen with this much tenderness. Scenes like this, they get down into the detail. The cry of Malachi, his cheerfulness, his optimism.
Don't cry, Eugene. Don't cry over it. Hey, Eugene, look at my bum. Look at my bum. Make him laugh. Oliver.
I don't know how they got the children to cry like this. But I went up this particular set, this tenement in Brooklyn. When I went to see it in Dublin, where it was shot in Ardmore Studios, I was astounded at how authentic it was. The details of the furnishings, the bed, everything. And I came and stood at the door, and I was in a state of shock. And this, I think, this scene, the moment my sister died, Margaret Mary, I think this the beginning of the long slide. Usually the same movie should begin upbeat. This begins at a very low moment. Where do you go after this? The baby dies, the little girl that my father was wild about. Because all we had boys, there were already 4 boys, and this was the light of his life. This, I suppose, this particular scene, you could say, okay, goodbye, Dad. Then there might have been some hope of his redemption, but now he goes out, goes for the drink.
Dad said there must have been a holiday in heaven the day this baby was made. Dad said he would get a job soon, so he will, and buy her dresses of silk and shoes with silver buckles. Poor little Margaret. Just a few days in this world, and she was taken back by the same angels who brought her here.
And it was the beginning of the end for my mother too. This is only the beginning of her miseries, and that's hard to believe. That you lose one child, that's bad. But she had to put up with all of this. She sank into that depression, took to the bed. And now, if a woman with children is that depressed where she can't take care of her children, she's in suicidal shape.
Boys, what happened to you, huh? Where's your mother?
But I think what it proved also was the sweetness and the gentleness and the generosity of the neighbours. Little Joe Breen got so sick of eating that soup. He asked Alan Parker, "Alan, do I have to have that soup again?" Well, Alan said they did, because they did take after taking. Alan said, "Oh, just pretend, Joe." And he said, "Thanks, Alan. You're the best director I ever had." How did they do it? I don't know how Alan directed those children.
Make it, Delia. Where did Angela get such filthy habits?
And her mother was always spotless.
Yeah, the stink is awful.
It's the twins, they're arse.
The stink was awful. It must have been awful. Because my father was gone, he was gone out. He went out for cigarettes and didn't come back for 3 days.
Went for cigarettes.
Yeah.
2 days ago.
2 days.
I'll break his face, I swear.
Dad'll be home soon. Come on, Oliver. Come on, Eugene.
Get paper and a pen, Delia. We have a letter to
It
write.
was desperation. A mother paralyzed with grief, a father paralyzed with drink. So my grandmother in Limerick, who was a scrub woman, a cleaning woman, sent the 6 fares
To my mam's mother.
from her savings.
We must have been the only Irish family in history to be saying goodbye to the Statue of Liberty instead of hello.
But I remember that.
Going back to Ireland.
And I remember how Malachy and I went down into the crew's quarters just to get away, and it was a very kind English crew. They're always giving us bread and jam.
6.
We arrived in the north of Ireland, in a town called Moville, and went to my grandfather's house. We didn't get much of a reception there, so we went to Dublin to take the train to Limerick. Well, you can imagine what kind of
I'll take him to the lavatories and I'm off to see the I.R.A. man.
a shock it was for all of us, this travelling.
I've been needing him to help you here.
And when I been needing him to help me carry all that money.
4 boys and my father and my mother in a Dublin railway station.
There, son.
I can't stop.
You're not over me now.
Coming out.
Desperate. No money.
No record. But I did my bit for Ireland. I fought with a flying column during the trouble.
This is one of the most vivid memories I have of going with my father to this official, whatever he was, this I.R.A. man,
There's no record of yours.
looking for some kind of pension, maybe some kind of recompense.
Raising my sons to love Ireland.
And I know my father was in the struggle.
Please. We have nothing.
I'm sorry. We can't be handing out money to every man who wanders in here saying he did his bit for Ireland. I'll look into your claim. I'll let you know what turns up. Here's money for the bus back into the city.
Couldn't add to that to make the price of a pint, could you?
Big mistake.
It's the drink you're after, is it?
1 pint is hardly a drink.
You'd make that child walk back into Dublin because you're after a pint?
Remember this, Francis. This is a new Ireland. We men and we chairs with wee bits of paper.
I think you should leave. Declan, the door. And don't bother coming back.
This is the Ireland men died for, is it? Come on, Frankie.
But that was it. That was the central element, I think, in our lives was the drink. My father's addiction. When he was sober, he was the perfect father. But then there was the drink. He was entertaining. He was a great storyteller. Funny.
She prayed to God for help. And do you know what he did, Frankie?
No, what did he do?
With a million stories.
Beard on her face.
He did.
He did.
Off to Limerick. I was going on 4 then. So my mother had 6 children in 5.5 years. That included the twins. Another one came later, Alfie, in 1940. The thing about this scene is there wasn't much of a reception for people coming back from America. If you came back from America, it meant you failed. Grandma might have been glad to see us, but it meant we failed. It meant my father was a failure, so there wasn't much of a reception for him. Besides, he was from the north of Ireland, and being from the north of Ireland was like being from outer Mongolia. He was a failure, and he drained my grandmother's savings. So there must have been great bitterness. Here were 6 people, 6 mouths to feed, and in Limerick there was nothing in those days. There were no jobs. I don't know why they ever went back. I don't know.
So she gave us 10 shillings for 2 weeks' rent in an upstairs room in Windmill Street, near my mum's sister Aggie.
It was common then for kids to be barefoot. And of course, half the population had tuberculosis. We called it the galloping consumption.
Why is the man's heart on fire?
It's the Sacred Heart of Jesus.
Don't these children know anything about the religion?
Oh, Mum, it's different in America.
Sacred Heart is everywhere, even in America. No excuse for that kind of ignorance.
They must have had a very sensitive set designer because they capture this. The wallpaper, the Sacred Heart of Jesus, the dismal furniture. And some people say it was the most Catholic city in Ireland. There were statues everywhere, pictures everywhere. And here we are all in the same bed. What I call the night of the fleas. We were in bad shape in America where we didn't have any fleas.
It's the fleas, Angela. They're everywhere. Come on, Malika, out of the bed.
Jesus, we're getting our rest. Maliki, come on, pull.
Take the mattress downstairs.
Pull, Maliki, pull.
Come on. Get the mattress downstairs. Get the fleas off. Bring it out. Grab hold of it.
There wasn't much you could do about the fleas. You could bring the mattress out like that and jump around it and
Pneumonia.
My dad said that if a man could jump like a flea, one leap would take him halfway to the moon.
we had those fleas till I left for America. But about that time, I think in the Second World War, they came up with something called DDT. So finally, sometime after I left America, they were to deal with the fleas. But you just lost night after night of sleep.
The snakes out of Ireland, and the English brought in the fleas and the damp. We loved our dad's stories.
Now, wait a minute. I need some coal. I'm going to dock it here from St. Vincent de Paul.
Yeah, the St. Vincent de Paul Society was the charitable organisation that kept us alive. When you were desperate, you had nothing, you went to the St. Vincent de Paul Society, and they give you a docket, a docket they called it, that enabled you to get fuel, coal or wood or anything, and food, tea and bread and sugar. That's what you were allowed.
It's a terrible look.
No pride, Frankie.
Come on.
This was common in every city in Ireland. There was nothing on the streets, no paper, no wood, nothing. We burned everything.
Needs a hot drink. Now, if you're too grand to pick coal off the road, I'm not. Frankie?
My father had strange ideas about it. He was very formal. You didn't carry anything in your hand. You didn't carry any packages. You never carried a parcel, because that was a low-class thing to do. And you certainly never picked coal off the street the way they're doing. My mother, being a mother,
Okay, come on, let's go.
needed coal to light the fire, to boil the water, to make a hot drink for the kids.
Come on!
He had strange notions. There was very little industry in Limerick. Men going to work probably went to there was a cement factory where there were coal yards, and there was a flour mill. There were the great industries. That was all.
It's a rabbit she is, that Angela. I don't see why we should be paying for her mistakes. 5 born and 1 gone, and so useless she can't even scrub a floor. Go easy with the sugar, we're not millionaires.
She was always angry, was Aunt Aggie. My dad said that it was a good thing she didn't own the stable in Bethlehem, or the Holy Family would be wandering the world still, crumbling with hunger.
I swear the skinny fella is the image of his father.
Aye, with the odd look and the sour puss and all.
Well, I think this fella likes me. There's all jokes and he thinks I am. I think we'll keep this little fella.
Uncle Pa Keating was married to my Aunt Egg, and he was the first real, warm, sweet, kind, witty human being I ever met.
Don't worry, I'll have me own son.
Generous.
Crawl to Lourdes on me, too bending.
And I suppose he would have been a great father, but it wasn't to be. There were no children. He was in the First World War and he was gassed. Then comes back to Limerick and gets a job in the gasworks. Spent the rest of his life hacking and coughing.
I'll go down to Thompson's, the undertakers, to see about the coffin and the carriage. The St. Vincent de Paul Society will surely pay for that, God knows.
I don't know how Emily Watson could have carried off one scene after another like this. She wasn't given too many merry moments. Baby's dying. Alcoholic husband. But you had to survive. And again, that was only the beginning. That was a strange thing too. They always seemed to have the cigarettes.
Jesus, I said to me, son.
They'd send us out to buy cigarettes, one or two at a time.
So I shove a pipe up me arse, light a match to it, and there I have a fine flame ready to boil water on any belly. And the English come running from trenches all around to pay me any amount of money to boil their water.
That's no story to be telling in the presence of a dead child.
It's better than sitting with the long face.
I made so much money in the trenches that I was able to bribe the generals, who didn't normally give a fiddler's fart about the Irish, to let me out of the army, and off I went to Paris, where I had a fine time, drinking wine with the models and artists and talking the lingo. Oui, oui. You think that's funny, do you? I had a great time over there. That's why I came back.
But there were 2 children dead by now. 3 of us left. That should have been enough. I suppose I grew up in a Victorian society. There's the carriages, the horse-drawn hearses, the carriages like that for the mourners. We certainly lived in a Victorian era. And it was like this in Limerick up till the end of the Second World War.
Requiem aeternam dona Domine, et lux perpetuat luce Dei, requiescat in pace. Anime eius et anime omnium fidelium defunctorum per misericordiam Dei, requiescant in pace. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritui Sancti. Amen.
All the funerals were vivid.
I don't know why we can't keep Oliver. I don't know why they sent him away in a box like my sister.
There were so many people dying in Limerick of tuberculosis, our classmates in school and our neighbours. That death became a form of entertainment. They were always having wakes. We'd go to the wakes and there was eating and drinking. Then we'd march behind the hearses to the graveyard. I used to say that we belonged to the Death of the Month Club.
He'd be home by noon, he said, and we'd have rashers and eggs and tea. He wasn't home by noon, or 1, or 2, or any time before the sun went down that day in May.
The trouble Malachy and I had in school when we first went, we had American accents. And the kids would imitate us and mimic us so that I'd get mad and fight back. Or they'd pick on Malachy and I'd have to defend Malachy.
You little hooligan. Is that the kind of behaviour you brought from America? Is it?
Yeah, there was hostility.
I'll put the fighting out of you, boy. My little Yankee doodle dandy.
The masters at Leamy's school all have straps and sticks. They hit you if you don't know that God made the world, or if you don't know the patron saint of Limerick. They hit you if you can't say the Hail Mary in Irish, or if you can't ask for the lavatory pass in Irish. They hit you if you laugh, if you're late, if you talk. One master will hit you if you don't know that Eamon de Valera was the greatest man that ever lived. Another will hit you if you don't know that Michael Collins was the greatest man that ever lived.
McCourt?
They treated us as if we were little vessels that you had to put knowledge into. You had to be moulded. You were never allowed to think for yourself, ask a question, wonder, show curiosity. They taught you the mathematics and the geography and the history all wrote, and you had to memorize everything. And if you didn't behave yourself, it was the strap and the stick.
What are you?
They said we were cowboys and gangsters, sir. I was only joking, sir.
And no more jokes. It's not their fault they're Yanks.
It isn't, sir.
You should get down on your two knees every night and give thanks to God that you're not a Yank. Because if you were, heaven, Al Capone himself would be coming to you for instruction.
I know Oliver is dead. Malachy knows Oliver is dead. But little Eugene is only 2, and too small to know anything. Malachy and I make him laugh, pull faces, put pots on our heads, take him to the park, show him the flowers. Me dad says Eugene is lucky to have such brothers like me and Malachy. He died anyway.
Mom.
It was a long time before I realised what kind of horror my mother had endured with the deaths of these children, all within a year and a half. One in Brooklyn and 2 in Ireland. You know, when a child is sick, you're worried enough. I have one daughter, and when she had the sniffles, I'd be up all night listening to her when she was a baby. I still don't know how my mother survived the deaths of 3 children in such a short space. And it wasn't necessary. The doctors would say later on it wasn't necessary. We know that now. Most of these are respiratory ailments, and I think if there had been proper nutrition and clothing and bedclothes, those children would be alive now.
Don't let Malachy and me and the rest of us be taken off in the box for the hole in the ground, or even Aunt Aggie or Mr. Benson at Leamy School. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Toast.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the strongest memories of my whole life.
No, that's Eugene's coffin. I'll
The white coffin.
point on Eugene's coffin.
Have another point, mister.
White coffin, pints of black Guinness.
Jesus, if that was moist, I'd kick his ass from here to County Kerry. I mean, if a man can't have a point on the day of a funeral, what use is living at all?
Must have known. He must have known about his weakness. in his sober moments. But he couldn't help it. He had his demons.
I couldn't have spent another minute in that room. I saw my little twins morning, noon and night. If we hadn't have moved, I'd gone out of my mind and ended up in the lunatic asylum. I'm sorry, but it was only 5 months ago, and before that, I lost my little girl in New York. And I've the 2 boys here and I've one on the way.
Time after time, we'd have to go with my mother to the St. Vincent de Paul Society in Limerick. They had, they were well-intentioned. They were essentially kindly, essentially charitable, but they developed a very stern exterior.
Where'd you get a name like that?
My husband, sir, he's from the north.
Why don't you go to Belfast and see what they can do?
They were kind, but they were unsympathetic. It was not. There was a snobbishness in Limerick, so that if you were poor, you were lower class automatically, and you had to crawl a bit. There was great humiliation.
There isn't a stick of furniture in the new place.
Does your husband have a job?
No, sir, he's on the dole.
The dole was the unemployment.
For a table, 2 chairs and 2 beds. You can take it to the second-hand furniture shop in Irish Town.
Excuse me, sir, but will the beds be second-hand?
Of course they will.
Only I'm worried about sleeping in beds that people might have died in, especially if they died of the consumption.
Beggars can't be choosers, Mrs. McCourt.
Beggars can't be choosers. That was a philosophy. It was a rough and tumble existence, this kind of thing. Pushing furniture through the streets, second-hand furniture, trying to get this house in order. It was what call it 2 up and 2 down, 2 rooms on the bottom floor, 2 rooms on the top floor. And we lived at the bottom of the lane, and when it rained, the rain would accumulate right at the bottom of the lane and flow in under our door. And there was that one toilet for the whole lane. Toilet paper didn't exist for us. We used the squares of newspaper.
Who's he?
That, Francis, is Pope Leo XIII. And he was a great friend of the working man. You know, I found this in an alley in Brooklyn, and someone's rubbish. No doubt thrown away by some idiot that had no time for the working man.
Oh, what's that stick?
Hey, what are you doing? Why are you emptying your bucket in our lavatory?
Your lavatory, mister? Ah, no. I think you're mistaken there. This here's the lavatory for the whole lane, it is. The buckets of 11 families get flushed down here every day. And I can tell you, it gets fairly powerful here in the warm weather. So powerful, you'll be calling for a gas mask. So good night to you, missus. I hope you'll be happy in the house.
Thanks very much.
One lavatory for the whole lane. That might have been the cause of half our troubles too. Whatever diseases popped up in the years that followed. Nobody ever came around from the government or the city council or the corporation to look at the conditions we were living in.
Have we moved again, Frankie? No, they wouldn't go without the Pope.
Oh, Jesus, look at the state of you.
So shortly after,
Couple of drowning rats. Get your wet clothes off, dry yourself.
shortly after Oliver died, Michael was born. Michael John.
He's fatter than the baby Jesus.
He's the spitting image of your dead little sister with the lovely blue eyes and the gorgeous eyebrows.
Why are we all upstairs?
My mother must have been one of the busiest women in the world with all these babies coming in. No food, and my father, never knowing when my father would go off and spend the unemployment, the dole. It was one long struggle, just hanging on. There weren't very few light moments in her life.
Calcutta more like.
What about the Pope?
Sodom, he can stay downstairs in Ireland. Oh, will you look at the state of those children's shoes? I can't go to the St. Vincent for boots. I'm too weak to be standing in the queue. There was a woman from Irish town who had triplets waiting forever in that queue.
You know pride, Angela. Begging like that.
What would you do, Mr. Grand Manner? You'd let them go barefoot before you got off your arse, useless feck that you are.
Right. Useless feck, is it? We'll see.
He was a good worker. When my father came from a farming family up in the north of Ireland, put him out, give him a shovel or a spade.
It's unlucky.
Put him out in the field and he'd dig all day, but he wasn't what you might call very handy. But he was going to try his hand at repairing shoes with the bicycle tire.
I'm not.
So he fixed the shoes all right. We went to school in them. Raised off the ground about 2 inches with bicycle tires on our shoes. And of course, kids are cruel. So there were more fights. Better to go barefoot than look ridiculous. This is the one scene I saw shot in Dublin when I went to visit the set. It only takes a few seconds.
Where are your shoes?
Don't know, sir.
Of course you know, boy. Where are they? Did your mommy not put on your shoes this morning? Did you come to school without shoes, did you? How many times have you been told about walking the streets in your bare feet? Huh? By God, I'll put the bare feet out of you, boy.
And I stood against the wall in that room watching it with Emily Watson and with my wife, and I felt that I was back in Leamy's National School. I was afraid the schoolmaster was going to turn towards me and ask me what I was doing standing against the wall.
Do I hear sneering in this class? Do I hear jeering at another's misfortune? Is there any boy in this class who thinks he's perfect? If so, raise your hands. Is there any boy here now who has money galore to be spending on shoes? Raise your hands. No. There are boys in this class who have no shoes at all. And it's not their fault. It's not their shame. Our Lord had no shoes. He died shoeless. You don't see him hanging on the cross sporting shoes, do you, boys?
No, sir.
What is it you don't see our Lord doing?
Hanging on the cross, sporting shoes.
Hanging on the cross sporting shoes. What?
Hanging on the cross, sporting shoes, sir.
Every day, me dad would look for a job, but somehow he never seemed to get one. Mam said it was because of his northern accent.
It's hard for people to understand how important the accent was in Ireland, or anywhere in the British Isles. In England, you're distinguished by, say, your upper class accent, your Oxford or Cambridge accent, or down at the other end of the scale, your Cockney accent, or in between, a Lancashire or Yorkshire accent. It was the Beatles who broke the accent barrier. But my father had a North of Ireland accent, and that made him stand out and made it hard for him to get a job in Limerick. There weren't that many jobs. That was understandable.
His first job.
The dip-de-doodle is the thing to be well. The dip-de-doodle's gonna get in your head. And if it gets to you, it couldn't be worse. The things you say will all come out in reverse. Don't go up the mine, Mammy. That's the way the dip-de-doodle works. The dip-de-doodle is the way to find. It's almost always at the back of your mind. You never know it's there until it's too late. And then you get in such a terrible state.
The conditions were very simple. There was no bathroom. There was no toilet except for that lavatory out in the lane. There was one water tap, one water faucet downstairs which was flooded. So we go down there and fill a pot or a bucket. When you cooked or when you washed, you had to boil water. And there was no such thing as a shower or a bath or anything like that. If you needed a complete wash, you just filled a pot or a tub and washed yourself from top to bottom, standing next to the fire to keep warm.
Boys, put a suck in it. Some of us have to go to fight and work in the morning.
Yet there's no one can deny, as he walked to death that morning.
My mother heard this time after time. In Brooklyn and in Limerick. We heard it. The craziness of the drink.
Come down here, boys. I have the fried egg penny for you. Look, boys! Those Red Branch Knights! Those Fenian men! The glorious I.R.A! Up! Up! Up!
He needed a cause to die for. He lived at the wrong time. I think he would have been happy if he lived earlier in Irish history and he would have shot some English soldier or something. He'd be hanged for his troubles and he would have died happy, swinging at the end of a rope.
Line up like soldiers now.
There's some kind of psychic energy here that was unsatisfied, that was unfulfilled. Yelling about Ireland, like a lot of men at that time, yelling about Ireland, being patriotic, while their families expired.
When we woke up the next morning, he was still asleep. He missed work and lost his job.
Time to become Catholic.
And what do I have here, Clohessy?
First confession and first communion.
Sir?
And what do they represent, Clohessy?
Pieces of the Limerick leader, sir.
No! The body and blood of Christ. If you don't pay more attention, it'll be the last rite you'll be getting, not your Holy Communion. Irish is the language of patriots. In English, of traitors and informers. But Latin, our boys, Latin, that the holy martyrs spoke before expiring in the foaming mouths of ravenous lions. Yes, it's Latin that gains entrance to heaven itself. But there are boys in this class who will never know sanctifying grace. And why? Because of greed. Those greedy little blackguards are talking even now about the money they'll get from their collection. They'll go from house to house in their little suits, like beggars. And will they take any of that money and send it to the poor black babies in Africa as they should? Oh, no. and off to the cinema the First Communion boys will go to wallow in the disgusting filth spewed across the world by the devil's henchmen in Hollywood. Isn't that right, McCourt?
Tis, sir.
Don't speak, you! Can't you see that God is on your tongue? Where is God, boys?
On his tongue.
Somehow they were able to sidestep the fact that there's no national religion or no official religion, but they thought they prepared us for first confession and first communion. The main thing about having your first communion was on the day you received it, you went around and you collected money from all the neighbours and relations. That's
Mikey is the expert in the lane on.
for the first time you'd have a few shillings in your pocket.
Up top, the girls have great floppy things called ditties, and at the end of them, great red things like dogs' noses. And down at the bottom, now that's an entirely different matter. They don't have a Mickey down there. No, none at all. What do they have? Well, I can tell you this, but I don't think he should hear it. Malachi, go away.
Nobody ever talked to us about the so-called facts of life. We picked up everything in the streets. Everything was shameful. Everything was dirty. Everything was a sin. So that was the first, as little fellas preparing for First Communion, we were given a strong sense of sin. We became little theologians, separating one thing from another. Was this a sin, or was that not a sin? The church was so powerful in those days in Limerick, it's very hard to understand it now. They got us early. Jesuits say, give us a boy till he's 7, he's ours from ever.
And what sins have you committed?
I told a lie, I hit my brother, I stole a penny from my mother's purse, and I ate a sausage on Friday.
Yes, my child. Anything else?
I listened to dirty things about girls from the lanes who don't care what they do because they've already done it with their brothers.
And who told you these things?
Mikey and my father.
For your penance, say 3 Hail Marys, 3 Our Fathers, and say a special prayer for me.
Am I one of the worst boys, Father?
No, my child. You have a long way to go.
Wake up! Wake up! His first communion, the happiest day of his life. And a lot of you still snoring in there. Here, you two. Get up. Get up. Go on.
Look at the state of them. The bar is soap when they lost them.
The red raw!
Here, it's the Northern Ireland in you. It attracts the dirt. You're the dirty gob of your father.
That's cold!
Jesus. You have enough dirt in your ears to grow potatoes.
It's supposed to be the happiest day of your life, First Communion Day. You get a new suit somehow from the St. Vincent de Paul Society. You go for your First Communion, you have a First Communion breakfast. Then you go to the Limerick cinema to see James Cagney.
Spitting on me.
Little spit won't kill you. If your mother had married a proper, decent Limerick man, you wouldn't have stand-up North of Ireland Protestant hair, and we wouldn't be late.
Corpus Christi. Corpus Christi. Corpus Christi.
Every time there was a sacrament, like First Confession or First Communion, something always happened to me. I think I had bad luck with the sacraments. First Communion especially. Confirmation later on, when I had typhoid fever. The collection was going around to the neighbours to get the money.
Proper First Communion breakfast at my house.
Wow.
Look at him, the manners of a pig.
He eats like a Presbyterian. Is it a millionaire you think I am? An American?
Is there any more tea in the pot, ma'am?
No.
I could do with a cup myself.
You all right, Frankie?
What's the matter, Frankie?
What's wrong with that child? Look what he did. He's thrown up the body and blood of Jesus. That's what I had to do. I have gone in the backyard.
You're not supposed to throw up the First Communion like that. The First Communion is sacred.
Father and the Son and of the Holy Ghost. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been a day since my last confession.
A day? And what sins have you committed in a day, my son?
I overslept and I nearly missed my First Communion. My hair stuck up like a Protestant's and I threw up my First Holy Communion breakfast. Now my grandma says she has God in her backyard, and what shall she do?
Tell your grandma to wash it away with a little water.
Holy water or ordinary water?
He didn't say, Grandma.
Well, go back and ask him.
In the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been a minute since my last confession.
A minute? Are you the boy that was just here?
I am, Father.
What is it now?
My grandma says holy water or ordinary water. He says ordinary water, and don't go bothering him again.
Bothering him? Well, the ignorant old bog trotter.
There wasn't any time for the collection. Not a penny. So Mikey Malloy pretended to have one of his fits so that I could slip in when no one was looking.
Mrs. Quick, he's having a face. Is he all right? Mr. Malloy, quick.
No, you won't.
Oh, we love Cagney. He was our hero. He was our mythic hero. He was our Achilles. Hercules. We all wanted to go to America and be gangsters like him. We were told all the great gangsters were Irish, and all the great cops were Irish too.
Over and done with. Now I'm free to grow up. Old enough to be 10 anyway. Old enough to pay the ultimate penance for growing up. Worse than joining the army or the police, or going to Australia, or becoming a nun in Africa. Worse than that. I had to learn Irish dancing.
Ow! What'd you do that for? Just don't want to learn to dance. Lift up your feet!
Things might have been bad, but my mother wanted to be respectable. And one way of being respectable was to send your kids to Irish dancing school. The way people send their kids to violin lessons or piano lessons. To climb out of that slum, to climb out of that lane and become a dancer like Cyril Benson. I might win prizes, but I didn't last.
The next time I went to dancing lessons, I bumped into Paddy Clohessy.
Frankie! Hey, Paddy, how you doing? Not too bad, you? Grand. Catch. Frankie, I'm telling you, that dancing stuff is for sissies. You won't be able to play football next. I won't? No, you'll be running around all girly like. Shut up. Everyone will be laughing at you. They will? Yeah. Next thing you'll be in the kitchen knitting socks. Oh, no.
Hop along, Cassidy. Cassidy. He was Irish too, of course. Everything was Irish. So if we couldn't become gangsters like James Cagney, we could always go over and be Hopalong Cassidy.
I was so happy I didn't know whether to...
We liked it because he didn't kiss the girl. Then I'd have to go home and show them what I learned in dancing school, but.
I'd make up the dancing and pretend I had a poker stuck up my arse.
That was my first creative act of choreography, making up those dances.
Sir, what use is Euclid when the Germans are bombing everything in sight?
What use is Euclid? Without Euclid, the Messerschmitt could never have taken to the sky and dart from cloud to cloud and bomb the bejesus out of the English, who deserve it after what they did to the Irish for 800 years. Euclid is grace and beauty and elegance. Do you understand that, boys?
We do. We do, sir.
I doubt it. To love Euclid is to be alone in this world. You, Closey, who stood at the foot of the cross when our Lord was crucified?
The 12 apostles, sir.
Closey, what is the Irish word for fool?
Ramadan, sir.
Sir, I know who stood at the foot of the cross, sir. It was the Three Marys, sir.
That's Fintan Slattery. He's going to be a saint when he gets older. Everyone knows he wears his sister's blouse at night and curls his hair with hot iron tongs so that he'll look gorgeous at Mass on Sundays. It's no wonder we...
That's how hungry we were. We yearned for the apple peel of the schoolmaster, Mr. O'Neill. And we'd play hooky. We said we'd go on the mitch, go mitching. Out into the country, Paddy Clossy and myself, stealing apples, up to all kinds of devilment. We live so close to the country, we could be out in 5 minutes, in the midst of the fields.
Grass to wipe your ass with. Paddy, quick! Wipe your ass! It's milking time! You wait, quick, you wait.
I could say bell.
Like you're doing it wrong. Shut up! I can't be sweet. Shut up! I said shut up!
That was the best thing of all, was to be chased by farmers. We could always escape because they always wore rubber boots.
Peter Dooley has a hump like the one Charles Lawton had in The Hunchback of Notre Dame. That's why they call him Quasimodo. Oh, and he has these 4 sisters with the enormous breasts.
Okay, it's a shilling for the 3 of you. You climb up the spout there, and each of you have a look. But no wanking.
I've my own sisters. Why should I pay to see your naked sisters?
Because looking at your own naked sister is the worst thing of all. Not even a bishop in the world could forgive you for it.
What can you see?
Oh, it's grand.
Can you see their tits, Mikey?
I said no wanking, my lord. There'll be no wanking up the spout. Oh, it's grand. I said no wanking, my lord. There'll be no wanking up the spout.
Hi, Paddy.
Poor Quasimodo. He wanted to be a BBC announcer. The only job you could have with a hump on your back. So he was trying to develop a British accent.
In Tribo and Alcari Day, and then you say...
And Dion Quilaspicat, Juventus or Neil.
Right. Altrobo.
This was another one of my mother's and father's methods of getting us out of the slum. If I couldn't succeed as a dancer, maybe I could be an altar boy. A step up.
How are you? This is my son, Francis. And he can recite the Latin, and he's ready to be an altar boy.
I'm
sorry, we have no room.
My father knew the Latin. He knew all the Latin of the Mass. So in many ways, we were exposed to 3 languages in Limerick. The Latin of the church and the Irish language, which was beaten into us in school. And then the English language, which we use every day. I suppose it improved our vocabulary.
I'll tell you what it is. It is class distinction.
They don't want the boys from the lanes at the altar. They don't want the ones with the scabby knees and their asses hanging out of their trousers.
And that's true to what she was saying about the boys from the lane. There was, you were branded if you lived in a lane. As soon as you announced what school you went to, Limerick National School, that was the mark of the lower classes. And you would look down in this Christian Catholic country. There wasn't much compassion. There were people who were compassionate, like people in the St. Vincent de Paul Society, but generally, you would look down on.
You buy pints for people you don't know who tell you you're a grand man while your children are at home with their bellies stuck to their backbones.
You're right. I'll get a job. I promise.
If you get a job, you lose it the third week because you drink all the wages and you miss the work.
You'll get by, Angela. I'll change.
They were very careful about their discussions. You rarely saw them fight. They were very private about their fights. My mother didn't believe in erupting in front of us, disagreeing with him in front of us. She always insisted on respect for him. As bad as he was, what a crazy man that he was. Don't talk about your father. And of course, the same applied to him. You'd have to have respect for the two of them, and they wouldn't. They didn't reveal very much. It was very hard. Even in a moment like that, they'd embrace once in a while, but it wasn't a general practice to show emotion like this. You were allowed to show strong emotion when you were drinking, anger and joy and merriment and so, but otherwise, no.
And then the angels left another new baby on the stairs again.
What are you going to call him, Angela?
And I suppose the big tragedy of my mother's life was, I'm sure she loved all of us, but I know that later on, I heard her telling her friend Bridie Hannon that she was sorry she had so many babies. But there was nothing she couldn't do about it because there was no such thing as birth control. Or if there was such a thing as birth control, you couldn't get any kind of contraceptives in Limerick. And even if you could, it was a sin. Though I think my mother might have committed that sin. She was just worn out from all those children.
Sent us £5 for the baby Alfie.
All right, boys.
Yeah, this is another one of these distinct memories. The brutality and the ruthlessness of the man, that he could be such a sweet man, the perfect father in many ways, but boy, when the money was in his pocket and the drink called, he was gone. And that's something I find it very hard to understand, because I have those mixed feelings about him. That he could just walk into a pub and forget about his children. My mother said he chose the bottle over the babies. It's very hard for me to understand that kind of addiction, any kind of addiction, where you endanger your children. Of course, now there's this new baby, Alfie. So, in less than 9.5 years, she had the 7 children. There was a gap there of 4 years between Mike and Alfie, and I don't know how she avoided having babies in that time. She had to say no. I don't know what they did. Because it was a sin also, which is very hard for people to understand nowadays. It was a sin to refuse your husband, to refuse to do your wifely duty, as they called it. You had to submit, because the purpose of marriage was to have children. Even if you were starving.
And if you only knew how the light of the moon.
My heart is banging away.
Not only would he drink the money, he'd treat everybody in the pubs. Every hanger-on would be treated to a drink.
Times he sat me by the fire and told me his stories of Cuchulainn, Roosevelt and De Valera. Later, he'll be home singing and offering us a penny to die for Ireland. It'll be different now, because it's bad enough to drink the dole or the wages, but a man who drinks the money for a new baby is gone beyond the beyonds.
And that's what my mother's life was. Squalling babies, desperation.
Couldn't find him.
Go to bed, Frankie.
And this is the kind of thing Emily had to do with this part. She didn't have the great, big, powerful, dramatic moments where suddenly she makes a decision to free herself of this man. She just hung on. She had the children. And she suffered the way women were supposed to in those days.
Were invaded by Protestants, or Mohammedans, or any other class of heathen. You will have the gifts of the Holy Ghost.
Confirmation. That's when you become a true soldier of the church.
Station of the cross, my child.
When Jesus rose for the first time.
What is the fourth commandment, my child?
Honor thy father and thy mother.
I think it was that lavatory outside our door. I got typhoid fever from that. Spent 3.5 months in the fever hospital in Limerick. I nearly died. They said it was the prayers of the boys in the church that saved me. Actually, it was a blood transfusion from 2 soldiers in the military barracks.
Father Guri is touching me with oil and praying, and that means I'm going to die. But I don't care. And then Dr. Campbell came in and held my hand. It was then that I knew I was going to get better. Because a doctor would never fart in the presence of a dying boy.
Dr. Campbell sat by my side. Doctors usually don't do this. But he sat there hour after hour watching me when I went through what they call the crisis.
He said it came from a soldier at Sarsfield Barracks.
They believed there was a crisis in every fever. And if you could get over that, you were saved. And usually they didn't let anybody into the hospital because it was a fever hospital, high infection. But because I was supposed to die, they let my father in.
Grand old soldier.
What's wrong with me?
When I went into the hospital, he had a job at Ranks Flour Mills. And I felt happy that while I was in the hospital, that he had a job.
Go.
Hey, you'll be a big boy now. Don't forget you get soldier's blood in you. You're over the worst of it. Soon be home to Sorrento.
That was the first time my dad ever kissed me. I felt so happy I could have floated out of the bed. Every day, I couldn't wait for the doctors and nurses to leave me alone so that I could read my books. I loved having a lavatory of my own where I could read for hours and hours.
To die, to sleep perchance to dream. Aye, there's the room.
Frankie, are you dead?
Isn't it grand, Seamus? It's Shakespeare.
I loved the Shakespeare. It was like having jewels in your mouth when you said the words.
I do believe, induced by potent circumstances, that thou art mine enemy. Oh, I do believe, induced by potent circumstances, that thou art mine enemy.
This is a luxury. It was absolutely almost worth it to get typhoid fever, to have the experience of a bath, and to be in the bed with clean white sheets and 3 meals a day.
Dad and Malachi and little Michael and the baby Alfie. God knows why.
But still, I couldn't wait to get out. I wanted to get out and be free.
I finally went home.
You couldn't be cuter, plus that you couldn't be smarter, plus that intelligent face. You had a graceful charm for me. You couldn't be keener, you look so fresh from the tree.
The back lanes of Limerick were awful places, with people hanging on for clothes and everything else, food. But there was great life there. We were always excited. We were always out in the streets. We were always playing.
Little Alfie on his lap. There's an empty feeling in my heart because I know he's out of work again.
Welcome home, son.
I was treated like a hero when I went home from that hospital. You'd think I'd survived a war, but that's what it was, because very few people survived typhoid fever.
But still,
And those who didn't have typhoid fever got the TB.
I loved his stories where motor cars and planes went underwater, submarines flew up in the air, and polar bears wrestled with elephants on the moon. He was the Holy Trinity, was my dad, with 3 people in him. The one in the morning with his tea and woodbines telling us the stories. The one who tried so hard to find work but never did. And the one who came home at night with the smell of whiskey on him.
The worst part of it was that all around us in the lanes, there were men who would get jobs and keep them, and men who were on the dole, who would bring home the dole money on Thursday mornings. And my father was the bad boy,
He'll have to go back to the 5th class.
the bad father.
Really very sorry.
They put me back in school. I was supposed to go from 5th to the 6th grades, but I'd missed a couple of months, and I was ashamed because I was going to be left back in the same class as my brother Malachi. I remember the doctor telling my mother when she brought me home that I should have meat 3 times a week, and I smiled to myself. I think she smiled to herself too. But the close she got to meat was bouillon cubes, beef bouillon, and she made a soup of the beef bouillon cubes.
What I needed
We couldn't afford meat.
right there, outside the Our Lady of Liberty pub. I looked up at her. She smiled. And when I looked down, there was a penny. I spent the penny on a candle and prayed to St. Francis for him to get me out of my little brother's class.
Take that sour look off your puss, Francis McCourt, or you will feel the end of my stick. Francis McCourt is going to show you how well he learned to write in this class last year. He's going to write a composition on our Lord.
Birth of a writer.
Jim McCourt. He's going to tell us what it would be like if our Lord had grown up in Limerick. The holiest.
You couldn't write what you wanted to write in school. You couldn't use your imagination. You were told what to write.
Yes, but not my the old man. Oh, I'm a good where you go.
They said that Limerick was the holiest city, but everyone knew the reason why there were always people in the churches. It was because it was always raining, and they were in there to get out of the wet.
The name of my composition is...
Title, McCourt. The title.
The title of my composition is Jesus and the Weather.
What?
Jesus and the Weather Sore.
All right. Read it.
I don't think Jesus, who is our Lord, would have liked the weather in Limerick, because it's always raining and the Shannon keeps the whole city damp. My father says the Shannon is a killer river because it killed my 2 brothers. When you look at pictures of Jesus, he's always wandering around ancient Israel in a sheet. It never rains there, and you never hear of anyone coughing or getting the consumption or anything like that.
and no one has a job there because all they do is stand around, eat manna, shake their fists and go to crucifixions. Anytime Jesus got hungry, all he had to do was to walk up the road to a fig tree or an orange tree and have his fill. Or if he wanted a pint, he could wave his hand over a big glass and there was the pint. Or he could visit Mary Magdalene and her sister Martha and they'd give him his dinner, no questions asked. So it's a good thing Jesus decided to be born Jewish in that nice warm place, because if he was born in Limerick, he'd catch the consumption and be dead in a month, and there wouldn't be any Catholic church and we wouldn't have to write compositions about him. The end.
That was my first successful piece of prose.
Did you write this composition, McCourt?
I did so.
The miracle worked.
That got me put back into my old classes, I say, with this wonderful teacher, Mr. O'Halloran, the first teacher that ever encouraged us to be human beings, because he was one himself.
You might be poor, your shoes might be broken, but your mind is a palace.
I'm a Cordy gets the ball. He goes on one man. He goes up to the second man. Can he get it up?
Peggy?
No, he can't.
Sean? Kathleen, come in for your tea. Come in for the lovely leg of lamb.
That was an evening ritual, a twilight ritual, because women would stand at the doors calling us in. And whether they had it or not, they'd announce the menu for the evening.
No, you'd rather drink the dole and watch your son.
It was a great thing to be able to say, come in for your egg, come in for your rashes, come in for your sausages. And you'd hear it up and down the lane, different mothers calling for their children and threatening us that if we didn't come home, they'd come out and they'd, as I said, they'd tear the countenance from the front of our heads. And we never wanted to go home because we were always out. We were always playing, kicking a football around made out of a sheep's bladder or something like that.
Oh, get off me, will you? I'm worn out. That's the end of it for me. No more children.
A good Catholic woman should perform her wifely duties.
Oh, feck off, will you?
You'll face eternal damnation, Angela.
Well, as long as there are no more children, eternal damnation sounds just fine to me, Malachi.
Church was everywhere, even in the bed. Oh, Billie Holiday. I first heard her on, I think, the Armed Forces Network, or Radio Luxembourg, or something like that. I thought she was singing only to me. I can't give you anything but love, baby.
Right. Remember your religious duties. And above all, you obey your mother.
So there was plenty of work in England. The men, you didn't have to starve in Ireland anymore. There was a war going on. The English needed men in the factories and in the forces. So there were hundreds and hundreds of men from all over Ireland who went over there and made millions of pounds, which they sent back. This is one of the little-known facets of Second World War history, how so many Irish families prospered. So this was the point of our highest hopes. We were going to go from that slum, that lane, because he was going to send money home every week. He might even send home £5, which was a huge amount.
All we had to do was wait 2 weeks for the telegram with the money order.
And we'd have food, we'd have drink, and we'd have clothes, we'd go to the movies. We might even eat chocolates on Saturday nights when we went to the movies.
Now that Dad has gone to England, surely our troubles...
High hopes.
Surely.
And we waited. Other families were getting the telegram from Limerick, from London, from England, the money. By now, some of them had electricity.
you sure? It's a first telegram. It should be for about £3, or maybe more.
Sorry.
Can you look in your pouch again?
I fucking did already. I've nothing for you.
If the telegram didn't come by 6 o'clock on a Saturday evening, we knew it wasn't coming. And we knew it was 6 o'clock because all the church bells rang around Limerick at the time of the Angelus. If the telegram boy hadn't appeared by then my mother would sink down by the fireside and sit there smoking her cigarette in a state of despair. Nothing she could do but beg.
Begging for leftovers is worse than the dole, worse than the St. Vincent de Paul charity. This is my own mother begging. This is the worst kind of shame, begging for the leftovers from the priest's dinner.
That first thing she brought home was a grey lump of corned beef fat with a little nipple of red meat on the top. She put it on she boiled it. She said she got it from her mother, my grandmother, but I knew. So she boiled it and put it on the table.
There was only one thing for it. I had to get a job.
And we were all looking at that little nipple of red meat on the top, like the peak of it. And she sliced pieces of fat and gave them to us. We all wanted the little nipple of red meat, but she gave it to Alfie, the baby. She gave it to Alfie, the baby. He looked at it, he toyed with it, and then threw it to the dog. I think we wanted to kill Alfie. So we ate our fat.
The dip-de-doodle is the thing to be wet. The dip-de-doodle's gonna get in your head. And if it gets to you, it couldn't be worse. The things you say will all...
I guess writing that composition on Jesus and the weather was my first successful piece of writing. And my first job helping Mr. Hannon deliver coal. He had very bad legs, so there were times when he couldn't get off the cart and I had to hoist the bags and empty them into the boxes or the areas or the holes in the ground. I don't know how he survived 30 years of doing that. I think when you have jobs like that, you're set into a kind of automatic mode, and you're just glad to be able to get up in the morning.
And the boy who helped him deserves a lemonade. Jesus, your eyes look atrocious, lad. Like two piss holes in the snow.
It's the cold, us, Uncle Pa.
You're a great man, Frank, and a good worker. You can help me every Thursday after school. There's a shilling for you.
Now, more power to your elbow, Frankie. You'll be taking your job yet, new John.
He called me Frank, not Frankie. For the first time, I feel like a man. A man with a shilling in his pocket. A man who had a drink in a pub.
Ma, I earned a shilling.
Take tuppence, Frankie, and take Malachy to the Limerick.
You're a treasure, Frankie. You deserve it. God above. Look at those eyes.
I don't know what happened with my eyes. That infection would stay with me for years, till I was about, I think, 39 or 40 years old. I couldn't get rid of it. It was a kind of conjunction with something else, and doctors scratched their heads and gave up. They couldn't figure it out. They tried everything. Later on in my life, when penicillin came out, they gave me penicillin ointment. It would clear it up for a while, but it didn't work. This tormented me all through my adolescence.
No more Mr. Hannon.
Mr. Hannon needs me.
I'm sorry for Mr. Hannon's troubles, but we have troubles of our own. And the last thing that I need is a blind...
But I suppose you could console yourself by saying, yeah, you're in the company of great writers like Homer Milton and James Joyce and Sean O'Casey, who all had troubles with their eyes. I'm a great student of writers who had trouble with their eyes. I thought maybe if I had trouble with my eyes, I'd be a great writer.
Please. No, he's showing the men a magic ring. I can't see a thing.
The doctor said it was the worst case of conjunctivitis he'd ever seen.
How long will he be in, Doctor?
Only God knows that, woman. I should have seen this child months ago.
My working days were...
Doctors always say that in Ireland. I should have seen this child a long time ago, but all the women were always reluctant to go to the hospital or to the doctors. We were afraid of doctors, that they had such power. You never knew when you were going to get a needle or you were going to get some foul-tasting medicine. When you went to the dispensary of Limerick for the medicine, it was always foul. The medicine itself would make you sick. But they kept me in the hospital for a month with my eyes. Didn't do much good because they couldn't diagnose what it was. There was that constant coming and going between Ireland and England, men going over and coming back, going over and coming back. There were happy families who were getting money, men coming back, bringing money and bringing all kinds of presents. And we'd wait for them, especially at Christmas. Especially at Christmas. Even though he hadn't been sending any money, we thought that his coming home at Christmas would be some kind of a turning point.
Come on, Mom. Let's go home. He's not coming.
He definitely said in his letter 2 days before Christmas. Maybe the boat from Holyhead was late. That could make you miss your train. The Irish Sea is desperate this time of year.
He doesn't care about us. He's over there.
My mother was very good at making excuses for him. That's part of her hope. He didn't change.
Next! And where's the husband?
He's in England, sir.
England, is it? And where's the Weekly Telegram, the big £5?
He didn't send us a penny in a month, sir.
Well, we all probably know why, don't we?
No, sir.
And we all know there's more than an occasional Limerick man we've seen trotting around with a Piccadilly tart, don't we?
He's not in Piccadilly, sir. He's in Coventry.
Mam went begging again at the St. Vincent de Paul.
Coventry, where my father went to, was I think the most bombed city in the British Isles. An industrial city. I can even remember his address, 79 Lord 4th Street. And I think the house is still there.
Neighbour Walter the Horse died.
Someday I want to go to Coventry and look up 79 Lower 4th Street. So he came the following day, Christmas Day.
Hey.
We were expecting you yesterday.
Well.
This is what she had to put up, this constant disappointment,
Well, the Irish Sea was very rough, you know. Bumped my head.
constant broken promises, the crazy. I don't know what kind of strength you have to raise children like that. Always on the edge of hunger, always cold, always going around like an animal, seeing what you can get out of your own mother, from the church, from the St. Vincent de Paul Society, and then to have this man come home.
Got a bit peckish on the boat, did you?
With these box of chocolates.
Christmas dinner. Did you bring any money? You drank the money, didn't you?
Well, times are hard, Angela. Jobs are scarce, you know.
Drank the money, Dad.
Jobs were not scarce in England.
So there's no respect for their father now, eh? We'll go and see him now.
Go and see your mum, but don't be coming home here drunk singing your stupid songs.
Sometimes people say to me, why didn't she do something? Why didn't she go and get a job? Well, how could she? There were no jobs. There was nothing for her to do, like women of her generation, women in Ireland. There was nothing you could do. You just had to put up with it, raise the kids, hang on, maybe wait for the kids to grow older so you could get out. But she was practically helpless.
Oh, I'm not hungry. But if no one wants them, I'll have one of them sheep's eyes.
Oh, not the eyes, Dad. Oh, Dad, don't.
What's the matter with you?
Oh, you're not going to eat that, are you? Oh, yeah. You're disgusting.
Lovely. The great nourishment in the eyes.
He had strange ideas about food. He never ate anyway. When he was home, the only thing he ever made was porridge, and he put everything into the porridge. Anything left over, although there was very little left over.
Where are you going?
He never ate. I don't know what he existed on.
On Christmas Day?
That's the best day to travel.
Give him a pint of Guinness and he was happy.
I was willing to give the working man a lift to Dublin. Think of all the hard times of the Holy Family and feel guilty.
Why didn't she erupt? Why didn't she go into some kind of rage?
Same way it came. So it was a time when no one's looking.
If there had been fewer children, if she'd had any kind of money, she could have taken us up, put us on a train, gone over to England and said she could have got a job. There's plenty of work in England, but she had no. She didn't even have a penny, or tuppence to buy a cigarette.
All right.
Why didn't she do something? People say. Or even downstairs when we had to come in and when the floor was flooded, people say, well, why didn't you get a plank? Put a plank down and instead of wading through the water. If we had a plank, wood of any kind, we chopped it up and used it for firewood. We didn't have the luxury of a plank.
1 eye or 2 eyes?
2 eyes.
We'd burned everything.
Frankie, if I had a nut, I'd give it to you. I would really. Ma'am, can me and Michael have another chocolate? Just the one.
There are turning points in everyone's life, and I think this was a turning point in my life. This is where I became a man, I think. The head of the family. He was going. There are moments like the time he had his pint of Guinness on the coffin that were vivid, and this is the vivid one for me.
If I were in America, I could say, I love you, Dad, the way they do in the films. But in Limerick, they'd laugh at you. In Limerick, you're only allowed to say you love God and babies and horses that win. Anything else is softness in the head.
Go home, Frankie.
That was it. He didn't come back. He would send letters, all right, admonishing us.
A telegram arrived for £3 and we were in heaven.
That was the last £3 he ever sent.
The next Saturday, there was no telegram. Nor the week after.
He would tell us to obey our mother and attend to our religious duties. Simple decisions had to be made very early. At 14, what we're going to do with your life? Get a job. Finish with school, and you get a job. There was going to be no high school, no secondary school.
We're making a fire. It's freezing. Come on, Frankie. Give us a hand, will you?
Take the Pope, Michael.
Here, put the Pope on the bed.
That's why we didn't have a plank downstairs. We knocked the wall down and burned it. Turned 2 rooms into 1.
Is that you, Frankie?
It is, Mrs. Borsell.
Come on in out of the cold sun. Only little God, you're fishing with the cold bar.
There were little moments of luxury, and this was one of them, when Mrs. Purcell would invite me in to listen to her radio.
Isn't it grand? The radio, Frankie.
It is, Mrs. Borsell.
Do you see Bedouins in the Sahara? And the cowboys on the prairie?
I do. And people sipping wine in cafes. And sailors in their galleons sipping their cocoa. And plays about the Greeks, where they have to pluck out their eyes because they married their mothers by mistake.
And the Shakespeare. I love the Shakespeare.
Shakespeare's like mashed potatoes, Mrs. Porson. You can't get enough of him.
I'm sure Mr. Shakespeare must have been an Irishman.
I don't know what it was about Billie Holiday, the way that voice would come through like an angel.
Oh, Billy, Billy.
I just fell in love with her.
You in America.
I hadn't even seen her picture. I didn't see her picture till later with the wearing the white carnation. First time I ever fell in love with a woman's picture.
Great God in heaven. Where's the other room?
What room?
I rented you 2 rooms up here and 1 is gone. I distinctly remember a wall because I distinctly remember a room. Where's that room gone?
I don't remember a wall. And if I don't remember a wall, I can't remember a room.
I want to know where that wall is and what she did with that room.
Do any of you remember a wall?
Is that the wall?
This is a metaphysical experience when you're in 2 walls and 1 is gone.
And now this? Out, missus. I'm putting you out. 1 week from today, I'll knock on this door and I want to find nobody home. Everybody out, never to return.
'Tis a pity you weren't alive in the time when the English were evicting us and leaving us on the side of the road.
No lip from you, missus, or I'll send the men to put you out tomorrow. It's out on the pavement you'll be with the sky peeing on your furniture.
Oh, dear God in heaven, what am I going to do?
Your cousin Lamon Griffin is living on the Rossbrine Road in that little house of his mother's. He'll surely take you in until better times come. I'll go see him now. Frankie, come with me and put your Mac on.
I haven't got a Mac.
Jesus, what
I don't know why my mother didn't collapse over this. One of the lowest points in her life, being evicted.
Grandma caught a chill that day, and the chill turned to pneumonia. They shifted her to the City Home Hospital, and when she died, Mam said that her family was disappearing before her very eyes.
Can we shut the door?
Let's go.
Right, let's go.
Wheels on buckle.
Kaiser Bill marched over the hill.
She had such pride that when we left that house, when we were evicted, she made us go in the middle of the night. She didn't want the neighbours to see us being evicted, so we'd make 3 or 4 trips up to Lemon Griffin's house.
Moved into Mam's cousins, Lamon Griffin, on the Rossbrine Road.
He was her first cousin, Lemon Griffin.
Books.
I did.
Will you go in the yard and see if there's something else at Oma's fire?
Is that for us?
No, his lordship upstairs.
Why ask? It was the same every week. 1 steak, 4 potatoes, an onion, and a bottle of stout.
Frankie, you back?
Will you take up the books?
He'd send me to the library whenever he needed his 2 books.
Good boy, Frankie. Put them on the bed there. Angela, the chamber pot is full.
Is there anything else your lordship would like?
Woman's work, Angela. Woman's work and free rent.
I'll empty it.
You will? Okay, Frankie. Take it outside and rinse onto the tap. And from now on, that'll be your job.
He had a job. He worked for the something called the Electricity Supply Board, which supplied the electricity all over Ireland. He dug holes all over the countryside for the telephone poles, for the electric light poles. So he just simply allowed us to live in the house, and we had to do what he told us to do. My mother too, or we were thrown out into the street.
Cheyenne, Chippewa, Sioux, Apache, Iroquois.
We called him Hoppy O'Halloran because of that limp. One leg was shorter than another. But as I said, he was the only one who treated us like human beings, with the intellectual excitement and his enthusiasm for America.
And you can move to the world resplendent. Clark.
And English and Irish poetry.
I think it's shining, sir.
Pithy, but adequate. McCourt, give us a sentence with pithy.
Clark is pithy, but adequate, sir.
That's right, McCourt. You have a mind for the priesthood, my boy, or politics. Tell your mother to come and see me.
Hoppy O'Halloran told Mam to take me to the Christian Brothers, to say he sent me, and I was a bright boy, and ought to be going to secondary school, and maybe to university even. I wish he'd mind his own business. I want to quit school forever and get a job with wages every Friday night, and go to the pictures every Saturday like everybody else.
I've come to see Brother Murray.
I don't know why we bothered. They took one look at us.
What you want?
This is my son, Frank.
And said no.
Francis, will you listen to me? Are you listening?
I could never have lasted in a Christian Brothers secondary school anyway, because we couldn't have afforded it. I had to go to work. There was no other income. I was 14, and I had to go and get a job in the post office.
Impurity is so grave a sin. The Virgin Mary turns her face away and weeps. She weeps when she looks down that long, dreary vista of time and beholds in horror the spectacle of Limerick boys defiling themselves, polluting themselves, soiling their young bodies, which are the...
Anything to do with the flesh was a sin in Limerick. Anything to do with the body. The church could barely allow the fact that you had to engage in sex in order to reproduce.
The prick! The prick! The dick! The dick! The langer! The langer! The excitement! The excitement! The excitement? Yeah, the excitement. Yeah, I heard that.
Paddy Clohessy found a priest to confess our hideous sins to. He's 90 years old and deaf as a turnip.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been ages since my last confession. I've been masturbating.
Except one day he died and didn't tell us.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been a It's been a fortnight since my last confession.
And what have you done since then, my child?
I hit my brother. I lied to my mother.
Yes, my child. And what else?
I suppose confession was a kind of spiritual or intellectual discipline anyway. It was it forced you to examine your conscience and to look inward. There was no such thing as therapy, and it was free. If you committed a sin, as defined by the church, you got to confession and express your repentance, tell him you're sorry, and the priest gave you absolution, then your soul was clean again, so that if you died that night, you went immediately to heaven. It was very powerful because it was very effective. That's why Freud was so fascinated, I think, with the Catholic Church, especially with confession. That immediate absolution and you felt happy again. I used to walk on air after confession. to know now that I was clean and that if I died, I'd go to heaven.
It's a disgrace that boys like McCourt and Clark and Kennedy have to hew wood and draw water in this so-called free and independent Ireland that keeps a class system foisted on us by the English. Well, it disgusts me. We throw our talented children onto the dung heap. If this is the end of school for you, you must get out of this country, boys, and go to America. McCourt, do you hear me?
I do, sir.
Lamon Griffin was drunk every night. Worse still was Fridays, when we had to watch him eat his fish and chips.
Woman, boil some water for tea.
We've no cola turf.
He observed the church rule about not eating meat on a Friday. But otherwise, he lived like a pig.
Go to the shop for a few salt and some kindling. Come on. I as useless as your mother.
His mother ran a little shop and sent him to some of the best schools in Ireland, so that he wound up as a midshipman in the British Navy.
I forgot.
But came back and he had the problem too, the drinking problem. He maintained a job all right, but he had the drinking problem.
We'll be calling for your patron saint.
Shut your gob.
You're not my father! You're not my father! Leave him alone! Stop it!
He hasn't been any harm. He's only a child. And he's to start work at the post office on Monday.
Give me a fag, woman. I'm telling you. That boy is a little shite.
I'll talk to him tomorrow.
I'm going to bed.
She was helpless. There was nothing she could do about it. If she defied him in any way, we would have been thrown out on the street. And there was absolutely no place to go. All kinds of people advised her, urged her to put us in an orphanage, but she refused. The pride. She could have said, I can't handle it anymore. Put us in orphanages, and gone off to England herself and had a job. Cousins of mine were put in orphanages, and they have horror stories.
Where are you going, Frankie?
I'm leaving.
Why are you leaving, Frankie?
Because if I stay, I'll take a knife to his neck.
Will you kill him?
Go to sleep, Malachi.
I knew I couldn't stay after he beat me up. And I was so angry about the relationship between him and my mother, although I didn't blame her that much. I think it constantly surprised me that she survived it all. I think he was the first man that I ever despised completely, or even hated. So my mother had died, and only my uncle, Pat, Ab Sheehan as he was called, he was in the house alone, so there was room there. He was a bit simple. They said he was dropped on his head. Gee, you'd think that half the people in Ireland were dropped on their heads. That was the explanation for anything wrong in the personality. He was dropped on his head.
Did someone punch you?
Yeah.
Who was punching you?
Joe Lewis.
Joe Lewis?
I thought he lived in America. Was he visiting Limerick?
He was, Uncle Pat.
That's not right. Him hitting a wee boy and him being heavyweight champion of America and all.
Ah, the world champion he is, Uncle Pat.
That's worse. And look at you, so skinny. Those arms wouldn't lift 2 stamps. Some things is most peculiar, Frankie. I'm off to bed.
He couldn't read, but he was able to make a living selling newspapers. He knew how to count money.
I was so hungry. I sat there and licked the front page and all the headlines. I licked the great attacks of Patton and Montgomery. I licked the sports pages. I licked the market prices of eggs and butter and bacon. I sucked that paper until my face was as black as Al Jolson's.
He had his own bed, so I took my grandmother's bed. I was getting this job in the post office. I didn't have anything to wear, so I washed my clothes myself and hung them on a line. Had nothing to wear but my grandmother's dress. Then all hell broke loose when they brought home Uncle Pat, my Aunt Aggie, and Uncle Pa Keating.
I'm pushing. Good man, Pat, we're up in there.
I wasn't supposed to be staying in that house. I wasn't supposed to be staying in my grandmother's. So Aunt Aggie was shocked when she saw me.
Get up and put the kettle on for your poor Uncle Pat that fell down the worse for drink. Mother of God. You're wearing me dead mother's dress.
I washed my clothes for the big job.
What big job?
Telegram boy at the post office.
If the post office are taking on the likes of you, they must be in a desperate state.
Frankie, you look gorgeous.
Jesus, what did you wash these in?
Carbolic soup.
They smell like dead pigeons. You make a show of us.
Another big day in my life, off to the first job.
Tell them at the post office that your aunt was waiting for you and that's why you're late.
Late? Why do I have to be late?
Oh, just shut up and do what you're bloody well told. That's more like it.
I often wondered why Aunt Aggie was always so angry.
But you're going to need a new shirt. And shoes. Not boots. Shoes.
Compared to Mam, she had everything, and she didn't have any kids to keep her poor. And here she is at Roach's stores, buying me clothes for my new job.
That's grand. Now, here's 2 shillings to get tea and a bun for your birthday.
When people were generous, they did it in a very rough way. They didn't. There was to be no sentiment, no emotion. It was a way of protecting yourself.
She certainly was a mystery, my Aunt Aggie. A complete mystery. We know every avenue, road, street, terrace, mews, place, close and lane.
But for 2 years I rode around on that bicycle, and I suppose I knocked on every door in Limerick, delivered telegrams everywhere. And at that time the war was still on, so I would deliver sympathy telegrams or notifications from the British government that the sons had died in the army or the Air Force or the Navy. I would deliver the telegrams with the money that we never got.
There are telegrams for the houses of priests.
God bless you.
But if you waited for tips from nuns and priests, you would surely die on their doorsteps.
Lucky to get the Carmody telegram.
Yeah.
For a big tip, we should get a shilling.
How come I got the telegram?
There's nobody else who'll go there.
Why?
Because Teresa Carmody's got the consumption.
Patricia Carmody.
You don't have to sing like that, so you can tell while I said so. Can't you see you've got to be my mother's son-in-law?
Everyone knew that there was a big tip in the when you delivered a telegram to the Carmody family, but it was also known that she had TB.
Know that they haven't got long to live, and so it makes them mad for love and romance and dirty things in general.
Telegram?
That's what they say anyway.
You're all wet and bleeding.
I skidded on my bike.
Come in, I'll put something on your cuts.
I wonder, should I go in? I might get the consumption, and that'll be the end of me, and I'll never get to America.
Oh, come in. He'll perish standing there.
But I need the shilling tip.
Oh, you big poltroon. Now that's better. Why don't you take off your clothes and dry them on the screen there?
No.
I do.
I will.
I knew nothing about women, girls. Everything was furtive and sinful.
Lord, you might be scrawny. That's a fine boy you have there.
My head is full of sin and fear of consumption. Her green eyes.
If I died now, I'd go to hell.
And she's on top of me, and I might be killing myself catching consumption from her mouth. I'm riding to heaven. I'm falling off a cliff, and if this is a sin, I don't give a fiddler's fart.
Your mouth is a lavatory, McCourt. Did you hear me?
I did, Miss Barry.
You've been heard on the stairs, McCourt.
Yes, Miss Barry.
Shut up, McCourt.
I will, Miss Barry.
Not another word, McCourt.
No, Miss Barry.
I said shut up, McCourt.
All right, Miss Barry.
That's the end of it, McCourt. Don't try me.
I won't, Miss Barry.
Mother of God, give me patience.
Yes, Miss Barry.
Take the last word, McCourt. Take it. Take it. Take it.
I will, Miss Barry.
Well, that was an important part of our lives, the use of the language. Because books were very scarce, there was no TV, very few people had radio. So you rejoiced in the use of the English language. And a moment like that, when you can get the upper hand of a supervisor, was delicious. I suppose I could have been, anybody who talked like that to a supervisor could be fired.
Oh, but some gorgeous man. Oh, hold me, Frankie.
But that, it's very hard for people to understand it now, but TB was a constant presence in our lives, a great factor, because if you got TB or anybody in the family got TB, you were treated almost like a leper. People would avoid you. We were lucky we didn't get it, any of us.
Hello, Frankie. How's the job?
Grand.
Uncle Pat looking after you?
He is.
It was a strange time in my life when I knew what my mother had to do with Lamb and Griffin.
You getting enough to eat?
That she had to surrender herself to him. And at the same time, I'm having my experience with Teresa Carmody. Confusion. And there was no one to talk to in those days. There was nobody you could talk to. I could have talked to maybe Uncle Pat Keating, but he wouldn't have understood. So there was no one to talk to. So you grew up in a state of confusion. Adolescence itself is hard enough, but when you have no one to talk to, when you're in a state of confusion like this, it's worse.
Mad Malachy.
There was no adolescence anyway in Ireland. You were a child one moment and then you became a man and you went to work.
I miss him too.
That was the hard part of it. You could never express yourself like that. You had to be desperate.
Mrs. Carmody.
Thank you.
I usually deliver the telegram to your daughter. Therese, isn't it?
Therese is in the sanatorium.
Please, God, it wasn't Therese's fault. The excitement on the sofa is what the consumption does to you. I love her, God. Just like St. Francis loved any...
It wasn't just death we feared, it was what happened afterwards, because we believed in heaven and hell in a literal sense. That you didn't just die, you had to go to heaven or you had to go to hell. And since Teresa and I had been engaged in that, in the immoral act, I didn't know if a priest had reached her, if she'd gone to confession or anything, and I was in agony over the thought that she might be in hell, and all because of me. And again, the worst part of it is there was no one to talk to, and I couldn't go to confession. I couldn't confess such a horrible sin.
I want to tell the priest and Teresa's mum and dad that it was me, Frank McCourt, the dirty, rotten thing that sent Teresa straight to hell. I think of Teresa, cold in her coffin, the red hair, the green eyes. I can't understand what I feel, but I know that with all the people who died in my family and all the people who died in the lanes around me, I never had a pain like this in my heart, and I hope I never will again. And then, as luck would have it, I had to deliver a telegram to the moneylender, Mrs. Finucane, and St. Francis smiled down on me once more.
That first composition I wrote in school about Jesus and the weather was the beginning of a writing career, I think, because it produced results. But what I did for Mrs. Finucane was not only produce results, but brought me money and the means to go to America.
People in the lunatic asylum can read and write. Can you write a letter?
I can, Mrs. Finucane.
I'll give you 3p for every letter you write, and 3p of it brings in a payment. Come on Thursday. Bring your own paper and envelopes with you. O'Brien, Donnelly, Maher, Hannon, or Mrs. Keneally, Mulcahy, Ahern. We'll see how you do with that lot for a start. Threaten them, boy. Frighten the life out of them.
How does this sound? Dear Mrs. O'Brien, inasmuch as you have not seen fit to pay me what you owe me, I may be forced to resort to legal action. There's your son Michael parading around the world in his new suit, which I paid for, while I myself have barely a crust to keep body and soul together.
I am sure you don't want to languish in the dungeons of Limerick jail, far from friends and family. I remain yours in what are these words, boy?
Litigious anticipation.
That's a powerful letter. This word, inasmuch, that's a holy terror of a word. What does it mean?
It means this is your last chance.
She gives me money for stamps, but I deliver the letters myself and keep the money.
So I suppose I went from the Jesus and the weather composition out to writing threatening letters. And writing threatening letters demands a kind of focus. It's a weapon. So you have to bring up the most dangerous words in your vocabulary. Although I was writing letters to my own people, so to speak, the people in the lanes of Limerick, the poor.
Send her a threatening letter. Look, people who write letters like that should be boiled in oil and then have the fingernails put out by blind people.
But I was desperate. I needed the money. I wanted to get out of Limerick and go to America.
I'm sorry for their troubles, for there's no other way for me to save the money for the trip to America. If the whole of Ireland was dying of hunger, I wouldn't touch this money in the post office.
Thanks, John. Listen here to me, men. Listen a second. This is my nephew here, Frankie McCourt, the son of Angela.
This is the ritual.
Of my wife, having his first pint. Here's to your health and long life, Frankie. May you live to enjoy the pint, but not too much, eh? Slow down, slow down. Don't drink it all at once.
In Mountjoy jail one Monday morning,
Oh, it's the inevitable. Like father, like son. Though I never developed a serious habit.
just a lad of 18 summers, and
What kind of state is that to come home in?
Up, boys, up! The Red Branch Knights, the Fenian Men, the glorious I.R.A.
I can't believe you. It's your father you've become.
Tonight. Tonight, I had my first pint.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
My first pint with Uncle Pa.
Uncle Pa should know better.
No father around to get me my first pint.
Your father was no good to anyone, and neither are you. You're just like him, you drunken feck.
I'd rather be like my father than like your lamb and Griffin.
Mind your tongue, you drunk.
Mind your own tongue.
This is a scene that's very hard to take for me.
Griffin! You slut!
When I wrote it and when I see it on the screen.
My drunken aged father than like that fat, disgusting shite lamb and Griffin who you crept up to every night there back at Rostrine.
Something that's very hard for me to forgive myself over.
Lamb and Griffin, squink, 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 with fat.
And of course, it was the drink.
You fucking shut up, you slut!
These bad moments can always be connected with drink. The Lamb and Griffin stuff, and now this. And while she was living, I never told her I was sorry about this, but I think she knew anyway. We both knew we were sorry over things we couldn't help. And that's the way it is.
Jilda Jalanov. My child. Tell me what troubles you.
I'm 16 today, Father.
This was the second priest
My first pint last
that
night.
showed me a human face. The first one when I was younger, a Dominican priest, and now a Franciscan priest.
God help us. But he will forgive you. Is there anything else?
I can't tell you, Father.
Would you like to go to confession?
I can't, Father. I did terrible things.
Well, you can tell St. Francis. You can tell St. Francis. We'll sit here, and you can tell St. Francis all the things that trouble you.
I tell St. Francis about Margaret, Oliver, Eugene.
He treads the upward way.
My father singing Kevin Barry and bringing home no money. My father sending no money from England. Teresa on the sofa. My terrible sins of interfering with myself. Wanking all over Limerick and beyond. The Christian brother who closed the door in my face. The tears in Mam's eyes when I slapped her.
And I gave her me back this morning, Father. Even though it's my birthday, and she offered me a cup of tea.
Ego tu aus olvo applicatus tuus, noli Patris, Filii, et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Say 3 Our Fathers, 3 Hail Marys, and 3 Glory Bees.
But what about Teresa Carmody in hell, Father?
No, my child, surely she is in heaven. Surely you don't think the sisters in the hospital let her die without a priest?
Are you sure, Father?
I am. God forgives you, and you must forgive yourself. God loves you, and you must love yourself. For only when you love God and yourself can you love all God's creatures.
For only when you love God and yourself can you love all creatures. And it struck me very hard. We were never taught to respect ourselves. We were all on some kind of an assembly line to hell, unless you stopped and paid homage to the church.
Mrs. Finucane! It's Frank. I have the sherry.
And even though I was given absolution by the priest, there was no signs of me ceasing my nefarious activities with the pen. No sign of me giving up sin. I think I was so desperate to get out of Limerick and go to America. I was completely ruthless and fearless. You had to do something. I could have spent another 2 years saving up pennies, but this was a godsend. I didn't care, because she had told me earlier that she was saving money. She was making all this money, and it was her intention to leave it to the church, to leave it to the priests. And I said to myself, well, if she's going to leave it to the priests, for masses to be said for her soul, I said, how many masses does she need for her soul? Surely one should be enough. She was going to leave all that money to the priest, so why shouldn't I take it and go to America?
Me mam, £2 for Christmas. Aunt Aggie, £9. Maybe for my post office clothes. Bridie Hannon for ointment for Mr. Hannon's legs. Mrs. Purcell, Clohessy, Quigley, Malloy. Everyone I know, and half of the poor of Limerick are here. They all owe the old bitch money. Well, not anymore.
Not to America, and not by plane. I can't put you on a ship, though, that leaves Cork in a couple of weeks. The Irish Oak. That'll cost you £55. Do you have it?
I do.
And as he was leaving his mother, standing upon the quay, she threw her arms.
I was going to America, but I didn't know where I was going. There was nobody I knew there. And the only reason I was able to go like that easily was that I was an American citizen, having been born in Brooklyn. Otherwise, you had to have somebody in America who would sponsor you. But I didn't need that since I was an American citizen. All you needed was the money for the fare, and maybe a few dollars to keep you going once you arrived. But this was normal. This was a normal scene in Ireland. Whether you went to America or whether you went to England or Australia or Canada, there was a big drain of people. Because things were bad in Ireland at the time. Things were bad for a long time after that.
Before I'm driven to the drink with the sadness.
Oh, I forgot. What? The eclipse
Though it's not like that now.
tonight. What's an eclipse? Come on, all of you. We'd look a right shore of Egypt if we missed that.
And it was strange that there was an eclipse the night before I left. Because I suppose people attribute all kinds of
This is a very good sign for you.
strange things to an eclipse.
Oh, it's a bad sign. I read in the papers that the moon is practicing for the end of the world.
End of the world, my arse.
Would you look at that?
Well, isn't that something?
Isn't it grand?
It's beautiful.
We might never see that again. Not in our lifetime, anyway.
Is that it then?
It's only the beginning for Frankie McCourt. He'll be back in a few years with a new suit and fat in his bones like any Yank. And a lovely girl with pearly white teeth and her hanging from his arm.
I know, Pa. Come on back inside, Angela, and we'll have a drop of sherry.
That was called the Irish Wake. The American Wake, rather. When people die, there's a wake. And when people go to America, there's an American Wake. You celebrate and you grieve at the same time. Particular Irish ritual. You cry through your laughter. So the American Wake was very important. Because when I was going in 1949, I didn't know when I'd be back again. It's not like hopping on a plane right now and going over in 5 or 6 hours. I didn't know what would happen to me when I'd see my mother and brothers again. I didn't know what I was facing. I had no education, no skills. But there was hope. I was taking chances. That's about all you could do. So that was the dream. We all had, I suppose, even in Ireland, we all had that American dream. Go over there and make loads of money and send it home to mother. And then you'd bring your whole family over. That's what they did. I'd bring Malachy over, Malachy would bring Mike over, or Mike would bring Alfie over. It went like that. I went, and eventually they all came. And after everything, we did all right. The dead are dead, and we're thriving.